After 4 months in secret detention, Egypt's deposed President Mohamed Morsi defiantly rejected a court's authority to put him on trial Monday. Morsi told the judge that he is still the president and that the coup which overthrew him was a crime and treason. Morsi and his co-defendants are charged with inciting the killing of protesters last December. The proceedings were interrupted twice by shouting before the judge adjourned the case until January. Joining us with more on the tense day in Cairo is blogger Erica Aisha Charves. Hi, Erica.
Hello, Debbie.
Hey, can you just sort of describe what the atmosphere was there in Cairo when Morsi showed up for his trial?
Well, the city is sort of on a heightened security at this time. 20,000 extra military and guards were brought in to sort of cover the entire city. There's more tanks in major locations, and there were groups of protesters, both for and against Morsi, in front of the area where they brought him into this special court.
And of course, it seemed like it was sometimes chaos inside the courtroom. Can you expound a little bit more on what happened in this very short proceeding?
The proceedings were extremely short because when Morsi was brought in, there was a lot of shouting. He was being tried with other Muslim Brotherhood members, and they refused to speak. They were holding up the hand signal for Rab al-Adawiyya, where their protesters were dispersed. They turned their backs. Morsi was shouting. There were reporters shouting back at him. So there was a lot going on, but nothing was resolved.
Now, this is the first time, at least publicly, that Mohamed Morsi has been seen since his ouster almost 4 months ago. How did he look any different to you? And what was the reaction of him being seen for the first time in so long?
Well, it was definitely a move on his part to insist that he be allowed to wear a suit instead of the regular white jumpsuit that everyone else had to show up in. And even people who weren't his fans were glad to see him show up today because no one's seen him. No one knew if he was alive or how well he was doing. And he looked okay for having been sequestered and not speaking to his family or seeing anyone for 4 months.
Erica, can you talk a little bit about the ramifications that this trial has, both on the interim government, military-led government that's in power now, as well as just the society in general? There's been so much protesting. Once this trial goes, how carefully must it proceed and appear to be fair to maintain stability?
Well, perhaps that's why they've decided to put it off for this time, because there was no way to make this trial look fair or that the proceedings were going in accordance with any sort of democratic movement. And at this time, they have so much going on. There's no parliament. There's no set time for elections. There's no elected president. They're working on the Constitution. So there's a lot hanging in the air right now that they've got to sort of figure out before it's time to have a successful trial of any kind.
Let me change the subject just a little bit, but not by much. Of course, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry visited Cairo on his trip to Middle East, was there on Sunday, made a number of comments, but he also said that he said as clearly and as forcefully as I can in no uncertain terms that the United States is a friend of the people of Egypt, of the country of Egypt, and that we are partners. How is his visit being played there in Cairo?
On local news, they're showing it as sort of a power play by the U.S. A lot of people see it as that. The U.S. has been accused frequently of trying to intervene in other people's politics during this revolution and the last. People on both sides accuse the U.S. of being involved or encouraging it, whether being on Morsi's side or the military side. So people sort of see this as business as usual.
Mm-hmm. And tell me about the security state. I know that there are a lot of protesters both for and against Morsi. What's the security state like there and just the average daily life?
Well, anywhere we go in Cairo, we're bound to see the military. They will close off roads, particularly in the late afternoon after people are going home from work. So it's something that we have felt constantly here in Cairo for the last 4 months. Now, it got a lot heavier right now, and part of that really is to keep some of these protesters also from attacking each other. There was a time when there was a lot of pro-Morsi protesters on the streets, and other people who were against him would go out into their balconies and throw things down at them or swear at them. So in part, they're out there to kind of keep the peace between people.
Sure. Very briefly, Erica, of course, Morsi has been kept in an undisclosed location for these last 4 months. Any indication of where he will be kept until his next trial date?
The military announced that he'll be sent to a prison up in Alexandria to be kept with other Muslim Brotherhood members who will be put on trial. So now I guess we'll know where he's going.
All right, Erica Aisha Charves, thank you as always.